Hi, my name is Zachary Braswell. My article that I'm going to review and give an argument construction for is called What Executioners Can and Cannot Teach Us About the Death Penalty. It was published in the Criminal Justice Ethics in 2016. The author is Susan A. Bandis. The name of the paper that I wrote was State Executioners and Their Opinions on Capital Punishment. Is the Death Penalty Justifiable? So this is interesting to me. Um, I chose this argument or this article because I attended an event by the Georgians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty. They had really they had some very weak arguments for what they were arguing for. There were no counter arguments provided at all, and religion was used as one of the biggest justifications. But if you look into most religions, you can find things to support almost anything. So that was why I chose this. I also thought it offered a very unique vantage point into, I guess, the lives of the condemned. Um, so, kind of an overview, some of the things that she tries to highlight. So, executioners are often very close to the condemned for a long time. They usually spend the people that are condemned spend years on death row, and they can really change over time. I mean, some of them are on their death row for like 8 years, so it's a long time to be sitting there. Uh, Harm often comes to those charged with carrying out the executions. A lot of people, a lot of executioners either quit or have mental breakdowns about what they're doing. And there were many people within the article that were interviewed that changed their mind about capital punishment, executioners. And there was one guy that he executed over 600 people in England, and at the end he said it's more or less just a way of revenge. It doesn't really serve any kind of justice. Um, so that was it was a very strong argument for that. Um, Another question is like of justice. If a rapist is found guilty, he isn't in turn raped for justice. That that kind of eye for an eye thing doesn't really work. Does the death penalty allow for like moral redemption? Once you're condemned to the death penalty, I guess you're just done, right? You're guilty for forever. There's no moral redemption. There's no ability for moral redemption. And does the death penalty cause unnecessary harm? So, I mean, we can see from the people that have to, the executioners, the people that have to actually kill the people, and then there's also teams called tie down teams. So they're the people that have to go in and get the people that are going to be killed, bring them out, tie them down, and then I guess assist with the killing. Uh, and another, I guess one of the biggest ones that Bandis puts forward is, does the death penalty distance the public and jury from the act of killing? Um, so the jury can sit there in the courtroom and think of theology and whatnot, but they're not the ones doing the killing. The executioners are, and the executioners are the ones who end up being hurt by doing this psychologically, or they just aren't able to agree with it or don't agree with the practice. And there's a quote here, it's, "You'll never hear another sound like a mother wailing whenever she's watching her son being executed." That was by a reporter that was standing in the room when there was an execution going on. So I mean, the reporter remembered that and was traumatized by that. The mother of the condemned was traumatized by that, um, and that could have all of that extra, I don't know, horrificness could have been avoided with life in prison without the possibility of parole, and that also allows for more redemption. My argument construction, so there's three premises to conclusion. Just punishment must not unnecessarily harm third-party participants and should allow for the possibility of moral redemption of the condemned. Premise 2, the death penalty permanently eliminates the possibility of redemption in comparison to life imprisonment without parole, even in cases where individuals markedly change. The death penalty premise 3, the death penalty causes significant psychological harm to those tasked with carrying it out and distances the public as jury members and voters from their moral and stately responsibilities. So my conclusion is, therefore, the death penalty is an unjust form of punishment and should be abolished. Taken together, I argue these points suggest the capital punishment is not only ethically fraught, but it pushes the duty of delivering the so-called justice into other people's hands. Bandas uses both deductive and inductive arguments within her article. For my justification against the death penalty, I used a strong inductive argument. One part of my argument that's not totally cogent is the counter argument that some people may not be redeemable. I mean, there are psychopaths, there are, really truly bad people. So if you want to just go on the redemption aspect of it, it's probably not cogent, but it could be strong. And then another question would be, what is redemption? So those would be counter arguments to my argument. It was an incredibly moving article to work through. I'm glad that I went through it, and I learned quite a bit of the psychological damage that can come to people that have to do these things. Thank you.